Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to do two more chemical reactions, and both of these chemical reactions involve a chemical called silver nitrate, which is in this brown bottle. Silver nitrate reacts with sunlight, and it causes the silver to oxidize and basically rust. And that oxidation, or that silver rust, is a black material. You may have noticed this if any of your parents or grandparents have actual, what they call, silver jewelry or silverware, actual, knives and spoons and forks for eating at that special occasion. Those utensils made of real silver, and before you use them, generally you have to clean them because they start to get brownish or blackish if you don't use them, and so they need to be polished before that fancy meal. Anyway, so we're going to take some silver nitrate, and we're going to put some silver nitrate in each of these test tubes in a moment. Before I do, I have some other materials, as I just took out here. I have a copper all wire. This copper wire, you can see, I took and I kind of coiled it up. I wrapped it around a pencil. I want to make that nice little coil. And here's the copper wire. That's where I got it from. So that's off to the side. So we're also going to use some NaCl, sodium chloride. I put it in some water. We have salt water. That's all it is. So I'm going to take some salt water and I'm going to put it into the one test tube. And you know what? It'd be better if I turn this around. There we go. All right, so I have salt water in here, and I'm going to put this, just a drop or two, into the salt water. Now again, this silver nitrate, AgNO3, when it reacts with sunlight, it rusts. So if I get it on my skin and I don't know it, it'll actually start to stain my skin with that oxide of silver. And I put a couple drops in, and you'll notice that it immediately went white. Okay. And that is silver chloride. And it's not soluble. It's forming a precipitate, and you can see it kind of going down there. I'm going to step in front of the camera. All right, as I was trying to show you before, that silver chloride is a precipitate. It is it's a salt that's not soluble in the water. And to show you that a little better, I was going to get a darker background. So here you go. This is a file folder, and you can see the darker background. And what I can do, give it a little shake, and it all spreads throughout. Now, if I let this sit overnight, it should settle out somewhat. Although those particles are very fine, so it may take a while to settle out, if at all. So that is my one reaction with silver nitrate and sodium chloride, making silver chloride. That means sodium nitrate is in the solution. And we'll talk about this, and we'll take some notes on it. In this second experiment, I'm going to take more silver nitrate, take a good amount. I'm actually going to pour it a little bit into the test tube. That's quite a bit. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to submerge the copper. So this is solid copper going into the silver nitrate. And it's not doing much, but you can see, if I focus on it, it's starting to change a little bit. In the camera, it's not coming out so great, but it's starting to darken up a little bit compared to the actual copper color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit overnight. And it's darkening up pretty bit. And we'll let it sit overnight, and we're going to see what happens. Yeah, there's something forming on that copper wire. Okay. So we'll let it sit, and we'll come back to it tomorrow. And we'll see what's happening with that copper wire and that silver nitrate. Okay, we're about an hour in after I added these chemicals together. We can see that the sodium chloride and the silver nitrate, that white precipitate, is starting to slowly make its way down to the bottom of the test tube. We're going to check in on that tomorrow. And we can see with the copper sulfate the silver nitrate, sorry about that, the silver nitrate mixed with the copper metal. There's all kinds of stuff forming on that copper in it. And notice the color of the solution. It's got a little shade there. So we will give this another 23 hours. Probably a little less. I'll probably get to this in the morning and see what other changes continue to occur. So 1 day has passed since we have mixed silver nitrate and sodium chloride together, and that white precipitate had formed. And you can see that a good portion of that white precipitate is now at the bottom of the test tube. If I shake it up, I can get it to rattle around a little bit. You can see it kind of floating around in there. Okay, so that is your silver chloride. That's your solid that's in the bottom of that test tube. Sodium nitrate would be floating around in the water as a solution. We also mixed sodium chloride and silver nitrate. No, wow. Yeah, that was the previous one. We also mixed silver nitrate with some copper metal. And you can see that the copper metal is completely coated. You can also see that the solution has a slight blue shading to it. So what's going to give that solution a blue shading? What other solutions do we know that are blue? What's the main ingredient of those? And then if I take the wire and I shake it, I can actually remove that wire. There it is. And all that solid goes to the bottom. Well, that's silver metal. We could theoretically filter this and purify it. It's not much silver metal. You're not going to get rich or anything. But that's your solid that has formed on the copper wire. So we'll discuss these and finish our notes on them and see what else is going on in terms of balancing equations and classifying chemical reactions. All right.